I've completed my box. I'm just going to show you a couple of things about it that I've added. I've completed taping the fabric all the way along the margins of it. On the back, I've added two more pieces of tape to further reinforce so the back stays closed. On the top, one of the pieces that I cut out, one of the larger pieces that I cut out, I taped it down on the top to block the window that's on the top. And the reason that I did that was because I won't always want that window, that light from above shining. Another thing that I recommend is that you're going to want to, when you're taking pictures, you're going to want to take that top lid off, or rather point it upwards. And so what I'm doing, I'm just taking a brick or some sort of heavy weight and put it on top so it lifts that front off. Sometimes you might want that lid, but sometimes you won't. Depends on what your image looks like. I've also added two lamps, and I have a tripod lamp set up on this side and a tripod lamp set up on this side. Now you can also use, it really depends on how much space you have, you can also use clip lamps and just put one on either side. And you can see that the light shines directly onto the filter, the fabric, and there's no direct light coming from this side, the inside. And then I've set up a little still life for me to take. Now what's nice is that once I have it set up, then I can go ahead and take my picture. And the stuff that's on this side, I can go ahead and crop that off with the editor on my phone. On the phone, you can also adjust the light, the exposure. You can decrease the shadows. There's lots of editing tools that are on your phone, most likely, if you have a newer phone. Obviously, I've also added a piece of white paper inside. And what I've done, you can put this as high as you want to, depending on your needs. But what I've done is I've measured 8 inches from the top and then taken this piece of paper, and I do have the paper that I'm going to give you, and positioned it there so that it leaves me enough down here. That's a 36-inch long piece of paper, and that brings me right to the edge here, and an 8-inch margin at the top. Just one point that I'd like to make is that you want this paper not to be wrinkled, and you can see that it's perfectly not wrinkled. If your paper starts to get dirty or it starts to wrinkle, you'll want to change that out. You'll always want a clean background. Sometimes you might want to use black paper for certain objects where you want to minimize shadow or create a contrast between the object that you're photographing and the background. But always you want a neutral background and you want it to be well lit. Another point that I want to make about these lights is that they are 100-watt daylight lights. You don't want a soft light or a cool light. Soft light will give you a warm tint or turn it somewhat yellow, and a cool light will give it a blue tint or turn it, somewhat blue. It will give it a cool tint, which turns it blue. So full daylight lamps, 100 watt, and light shining directly on each side.